Welcome back to Izakaya Dreaming. Today we are getting into the side of the house. So there's two parts. There's this piece of mud and moss here, which basically just fills up with water every time it rains. So I'm gonna try and gravel it and maybe put, I don't know, a picnic table or something like that there. The other thing I want to do is clean up this retaining area, or this retaining wall. Because you can see it's like, you know, there's lots of growth all over it, which I don't mind, but it's all dead and brown and just looks really nasty. So I need to sort of clean that up and get as much of that off as I possibly can. Then what I need to do is this area right out the back here, I need to get all of this cleaned up as well. And so the idea is to get this whole thing cleaned up, gravel the side, let it grow back for a couple of weeks and see how it comes up. Let's go. So I decided that I'd get started in this area here in the backyard. So this is quite overgrown, and you know, as I said before, I don't mind the overgrowth, but the problem is that it's been 15 years since it's been maintained, and it's just been dead for years, so it just looks horrid. And it needs to be thinned out anyway. I mean, this is way too much growth. What I'd like to do is a nice, thin layer of overgrowth, and we'll see how that looks. But for now, let's get it cleared up. It was actually a pretty tricky process getting this stuff off because the stones, they're not really even. So some of them are flat, some of them are jagged, some of them are round. And so I had to get the hedge trimmer and kind of almost like shave it off the surface, because I kept, a couple of times I hit the rocks and, you know, I don't want to wreck my blades. So you can see here, I'm just kind of shaving it off just as close as I can. And then just try and use the rake to kind of get the rest off. You know, it wasn't perfect, but it did an okay job. Good lord, the hornets around here are big, but they're not aggressive, so that's good. As you can see, one of these hornets has come back to haunt me. Actually, living in the country, it's interesting because there's so much wildlife around here, and you know, part of that wildlife is spiders and hornets and snakes and centipedes and yeah, lots of different animals, but you know, you just live with them. It's just part of it. So you can see here, I'm kind of revealing the wall a little bit underneath, and they just kind of stack these stones. There's some grout in there to hold them together, but yeah, they basically just stack them on top of each other. It's quite amazing actually. The way that they build these walls is pretty cool. and they're just compressed into the dirt behind them. It's a couple of layers thick.
And I'm going to try using the line trimmer to clean off this wall. I kind of feel like it's just going to get tangled all the time, but I'll give it a try anyway.
So I was pretty much dead right about those plants getting caught around the line trimmer. So the roots are really, really long, and they cause me a lot of trouble in this project actually. And these roots are everywhere. They just get tangled around everything. I sort of just had to just keep the line trimmer, just lightly touching those roots to sort of clear all the leaves and everything around them. If I pushed it in there too hard, straight away just tangled. So, just had to use a light touch. So I'm not too sure what to do with that section in the middle. You can see in the middle of the retaining wall, the rocks there are really ad hoc. It looks like it's probably collapsed and then they've kind of just stacked it all back together, and it's kind of lost that uniformity that it probably originally had. So I'm not too sure what to do with that. At this point I was thinking that I'd probably just let the overgrowth come back just to sort of cover it up. But later on in the video, you'll see sort of how that turned out, and I'd be interested to see what your thoughts are on that. So should I leave it like that, or should I let the overgrowth come back and cover it up? So the section that you're seeing me clear there, this is actually a drainage channel. So if you can see up the top there's like a concrete sort of U channel at the top. So what happens is all the water drains from the property above and flows down that wall there through that channel. And then there's actually a channel that was originally sort of dug into the backyard, which has become, it's kind of not really there anymore, so I've got to dig it back in. You can see a little bit of it just to the bottom right of the screen there. So that's a project for later on. I'm going to re-dig all of that, get the slope going properly, and then I'll probably put some stonework and some grout in there so that it doesn't, just disappear under the grass and get kind of reclaimed by nature as that tends to happen. Alright, so we're pretty much done with that. So let's have a look at a few before and after shots. Alright, with that done, it is time to move on to the next part. We're going to hit the side of the house now. Alright, so the next part. So this part of the house is horrible. As I said, it gets full of water when it rains, and yeah, it's just really nasty. So what I need to do is try and clean off all of this stuff. But I'm also gonna try and get all of this gravel off the front yard, because I want to clear this anyway, and there's two large piles there that I wanted to get rid of as well. So I'm gonna start by raking up as much of this gravel as I possibly can, and then I'm actually gonna repurpose that and put that up the side there. I'll, you know, lay down some, I'm gonna level it out first, and then once I've leveled it out, I'll gravel it. To be honest, the main purpose of this is just to get this gravel off the front yard and stop the side filling up every time it rains. It's actually quite interesting because this area here suffered massive landslides in, I think it was the late 50s. It was around about late 50s, early 60s, and most of the village was actually destroyed. So this land that we're on, it's kind of raised, and no matter how deep I dig, this gravel is always there. It's almost like a concrete. So I wonder whether this is actually the remnants of a lot of the old buildings that were around this area in the early 60s before the massive landslides happened. I might do some research into that and I'll let you know. Pretty slow going here, but I used a heavy duty rake so that I could rip as much of the gravel out of the ground as possible. I'm just really trying to get as much as I can here. Alright, with the first layer of that raked up, I'm now just going to shovel it all up and put it in that pile that you see to the right. So that looks like a really large pile of gravel, and you might think there's plenty there to gravel the side, but a bit later in the video I'll explain to you why that pile of gravel is not quite what it seems. You know, at this point, I've really got to change my camera equipment. Alright, well, after half an hour of shoveling gravel, I realised the camera fell over at around about the 4-minute mark, so didn't film any of it. Anyway, doesn't matter. I've done one round,
Time for round 2. I definitely have to stop using my phone. This really sucks.
As you can see, the wind was not happy with knocking over my camera once. Had to have another attempt. Nearly lost another recording. Quick look back at the camera. I had no idea at that point that it had actually nearly fallen over. There you go. So I do actually have some plans for this part of the front yard, so if you have a look down the bottom of the screen there, you can actually see all of that gravel that I haven't raked up. So I'm probably going to eventually cover that with a deck, probably like a cedar deck or something like that, not too sure. I want to get rid of this gravel anyway, because I'm wanting to try and sort of create maybe a barbecue area or something like that, I'm not too sure, on this front area. I may even eventually turf it, but I'm thinking about whether I should, you know, sort of put some raised bed gardens here or something like that, I'm not too sure. But either way, getting all the gravel off this front yard kind of serves a couple of purposes. It gets that side area covered, gets all of this gravel cleared off the front yard, so theoretically I'm killing two birds with one stone here.
One thing I can see is this stuff here. It is everywhere. These stringy roots. It's like a vine. It's not a vine. It's actually a bush. But the roots of this bush. I don't know if you can see it. There's some over there. There's some up on the wall there. But the roots of this bush, yeah, they're like string, and they're meters long. They just grab everything. You know, if you're using your line trimmer, they wrap around your line trimmer. If you're shoveling, they wrap around your shovel. And if you're raking, they wrap around your rake. Yeah, they're my arch nemesis at the moment. Bit of fun, I guess. We'll get through it. round 2 done. I just went down to Cornham today, just bought a pick, some plastic sheeting, a hoe, a couple of other things. So all of the gravel that I took off the front yard today, eventually I'm going to turf that, but we've got some work going on over the next little while, so I'm not going to turf that yet, so that the workers can park their trucks and stuff there. But I do need the gravel, because what I'm going to do is I'm just leveling all of this out here. There's a big mound right up the middle, so I'm just going to level that out. There's a big mound up the middle there. Yeah, so I'm just going to level it down, and then all of the gravel that I took off the front yard, I'll put some plastic down and then gravel all of this, and that'll kind of act as a bit of a car park type of a deal. So yeah, should be fun.
So this part was pretty hard work because again, it's really rocky all the way through this front yard. The backyard's fantastic because it used to be agricultural land. It's quite easy to dig around in there, but this front yard, again, because it's just got so many rocks and all this concrete embedded in there, it's just such a job. It's just such a job to try and get through it all. But for this particular one, this is kind of I suppose, a bit of a temporary project anyway. Next year I need to do some really serious work around here. But for now, I just want to clean this up, have it looking nice, and to be able to, you know, park a car or, yeah, just put a little, I don't know. I still haven't figured it out. I might put a picnic set there or something like that. I'm not too, like a picnic table or something like that. Not too sure. We'll see. So I just got to get all the big rocks out there. So it's kind of all flattened out there now. I'm just getting the major stones out because I'm gonna put some plastic sheeting down. So I need to get rid of the biggest stones because, you know, every time you walk over it or if I park a car on there, the larger rocks are just gonna push straight through the plastic and tear it, and then we're gonna have weeds growing through. Gotta love the sound of this place. The birds in this area, in Wakayama, just amazing. Alright, so I'm starting to put the plastic down now. I had some pins to hold the plastic sheeting down, but you cannot get more than 4 to maybe 5 centimeters into this ground. And it's not because it's hard, it's because there's so many rocks and there's so many little chunks of concrete in there that you just can't find a way through it all. But it's great drainage though. It is very good drainage, I will say that. But as you can see, I've sort of ended up having to put them in on an angle. And then I probably should have taped the edges. But at this point I didn't have tape and I just wanted to get this done. So I took the lazy man's option and I pinned it down. And then what I did is I just relied on the pins to hold it down until I could get some gravel on there, and then just use the gravel to weigh it down. That seemed to work okay. If there's any problems in the future, I'll fix it. Tell you what, the wind has really been enjoying making things difficult for me today. Knocking over my camera, blowing my plastic around. But that's alright. You work with what you've got. Alright, so it was all going pretty well. You might recall I said I was going to tell you something about those piles of gravel on the front yard. Well, unfortunately, at around about this point, I realised they weren't quite what they seemed.
Bit of a bummer. Bit of a bummer. I thought I had a lot more gravel than this. There's two massive piles on the front yard of gravel. Huge piles. They're still, like, I've used less than a quarter of them. And so I thought, great, I've got heaps of gravel. And I've got about 2-3 inches into the top of each pile, and underneath it's just dirt. So my massive piles of gravel turned out to be massive piles of dirt with a little bit of gravel on top. It's a pain in the butt because this is now kind of patchy, and the whole point of doing this was to get those piles of gravel off the front yard and do something with them. Now all of a sudden this, easy project that was just moving some gravel around has now turned into possibly a cost to get more gravel. I've got a fair bit of the front yard that I haven't raked, probably about a third of the front yard. I guess I'll rake that up now. I wasn't going to do that, but I guess I'll rake that up now and see if I can get some more gravel. But yeah, pain in the butt.
So in my annoyance, I completely forgot to record the second lot of raking, but you've seen enough raking anyway. So I actually ended up getting probably about 3 or 4 wheelbarrows worth from around the yard. Unfortunately, it was in areas where the gravel wasn't quite as clean. So I spent a lot of time getting weeds and things like that out of it. I couldn't get it all out, but that's okay. I'll just use some weed killer to control anything that's in this gravel and make sure it doesn't grow back. Alright, so we are pretty much done. Let's have a look at some more before and after shots. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I enjoyed making it. If you want to see more of my content, please subscribe to the channel, Izakaya Dreaming, and tap the bell to be notified when I release new videos. And if you could give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, that would be fantastic. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you on the next one.